Three Stooges, one variation of that combination. With you on this Southside Connection, I'm Ed Lane. This is Brad Meeks, B-Rad from the Boo, and this is Ryan Stone, the new guy. And Ryan, you brought up an interesting candidate that might be maybe not on the known radar, but might be a great fit for the Martinsville head boys basketball coach.
Yeah, I don't know if he would even be interested, or if Martinsville would even be interested, but Coach Devin Carter, an assistant for the Hargrave post-grad basketball team, so I worked with a lot of their players last year. I think he'd be a good person to consider.
I don't think that would be hard to convince some young 16, 17, 18-year-olds to take the advice of an individual who has helped put a number of young, prominent people.
He also played at Elon. He also played his college basketball at Elon, so they would definitely listen to him.
Yeah, I would think you got a great point. You know, it does hearken, though, what I will say about that, and that is, it's easy to speculate on names. You know, that's part of what we do. We throw names. What does our gut say? It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. But there's so many possible candidates for this job. It really is a situation. That's why the people at Martinsville are in the position of authority, because they're the ones that have to actually sit down and sift through who is the best fit and matches all the criteria of what they seek. Now, you guys have been able to assess the criteria of the Mustangs and of post-42 baseball. I want to start out with post-42. Big 4-3 win over Rocky Mount last night. Houston is a guy that has had a chance to see them. Certainly you have as well. You've done the games with him, Ryan. Where do you feel this team is right now compared to where they were?
Well, I think they had an unfortunate injury with Dylan Crowder, broke his arm, so they had to bring up Michael Golden, a first baseman from the junior team, to fill his spot at first base. I think that takes their power takes a big hit in the order with Dylan Crowder being out. But I thought they were pretty impressive yesterday. They had some errors that they committed with some of the new guys that they called up, but I thought the pitching was pretty impressive, and their timely hitting was very good as well.
Yeah, I think the injury to Dylan Crowder, that's a big blow to this post-42 team. However, with Tyler Belcher and Nick Kingston and Jason Edge, if they're able to step up, I don't think that it's not an injury that post-42 cannot overcome.
Well, they've got postseason play beginning this Friday in the regional tournament up in Lynchburg, Virginia. LBG represent. My hometown, by the way. That's where the folks live, up in Lynchburg, Virginia, at Liberty University. Don't have any flashy signs for Mr. Jerry Falwell's place. But I do want to just touch on this point as well. You mentioned this team right now battling through injuries. Is the whole season a learning experience right now, just given collectively how young this team is and what they have to look forward to?
Well, yeah, you hit on it. They're young, so yeah, I think it is kind of a learning experience for a lot of these guys. You know, some of them will move on to college baseball next year, but a lot of these guys will be back playing again next year, and I think this team could be really good in the future.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, they're young. I think it's a good for Michael Golden and Holden Watkins, who were two call-ups from the junior team yesterday playing their first game. I think it's good for them to get some experience going forward into the postseason. As you know, you come in, you need to play in a regular season game before you can play in a postseason game, because the pressure is not going to be the same.
Yeah, you got a good point there. You know, one thing that has also jumped out to me, you mentioned bringing up some of the junior team players. How's the adjustment going for these guys from playing what they do in high school, which is 7-inning ball games? Obviously, I would love to see that in all baseball, but the reality is you can't deal with that as a player. You got to deal with what you have at your disposal and what you have to do, and that's play 9-inning ball games. How are these guys making that transition?
I think the toughest adjustment has been coming out for some of these guys that are, you know, most of these pitchers, they're all starting pitchers for the most part for their high school. I think the biggest adjustment has been when some of these guys have to come out of the bullpen. They tend to struggle. Kemper Terry has been the best coming out of the bullpen. He came in and got the save yesterday and pitched out of a bases-loaded jam when they were only up by one, and he managed to get the save. But I think the starting pitchers have done a good job extending their innings a little bit, even some of them going 7-8 innings.
What about endurance-wise?
Yeah, I think that's an issue. As yesterday we saw Jeff Harris went 7 1/3. In a high school game, that would have been a complete game. However, post-42 is 9 innings. He came out in the 8th inning. You seen the tire. He threw 103 pitches. That's something you can't ask for your pitchers on a nightly basis. As we saw, he started to wear down. The other team was able to get some good hits on him, start a rally. Kemper Terry was able to come out of the bullpen, however, and shut the rally down. The post-42 was able to hold on.
You mentioned Harris. How much of that's just building up arm strength and the expectation that your arm's got to be able to get to that century mark?
Oh, it is. It definitely is a lot of it. However, early in the season, you know, they're only 7-9 now, so that's 16 games. You can't make the adjustment in 16 games. It's going to take years to adjust to throwing 100 pitches as opposed to throwing 70 and 80 pitches in the game.
It's good perspective, guys. Appreciate it on that. We'll come right back, and we will talk a little Mustangs baseball. They're hanging in there in the chase for a playoff berth in the Pettit Cup playoffs, right in the thick of things in the second half. They have little room for error, though, given a rough first half. Where is this team right now, and how close are they to being able to make a run, given their injuries? We'll put these two guys to the test when we return after this on Southside Connection.